June 23, 1942. South Wales. 180 miles west of London. High above scattered clouds, a single German fighter cuts through the sky, trailing black smoke like a wounded animal. Its engine coughs, then steadies, then coughs again. Inside the cockpit, the pilot tastes blood where he's bitten his tongue, his gloved hands tight on the control stick as the aircraft shudders beneath him. His name is Oberleutnant Armin Faber. He is 22 years old. And he is about to make one of the most consequential mistakes of the Second World War. At this moment, Faber believes he is flying over the English Channel, heading safely back toward occupied France. He believes he is minutes from friendly territory, from mechanics, coffee, and survival. He is wrong. In less than 6 minutes, he will land intact on a British Royal Air Force base, delivering Nazi Germany's most advanced fighter aircraft directly into enemy hands. Alive, undamaged, and complete. The implications will ripple across the air war over Europe. But for now, Faber knows only fear. His compass spins uselessly. His fuel gauge sinks toward zero. His radio is dead. And the fighter beneath him, a Focke-Wulf FW 190, is dying. 40 minutes earlier, the mission had begun like hundreds before it. Faber took off from Morlake's airfield in occupied Brittany as part of an escort patrol. German bombers had struck targets near Plymouth, and fighter cover was required on the return leg. Routine. Dangerous, but familiar. By mid-1942, air combat over the Channel had become a relentless grind. British pilots knew the sky. German pilots trusted their machines. Every patrol was a gamble. That afternoon, the gamble failed. Spitfires dropped from the clouds without warning. The engagement was violent and brief. Cannon fire tore through the air. Faber watched his wingman take hits to the engine, black smoke pouring as the aircraft peeled away toward France. Moments later, Faber's own aircraft was struck. Rounds punched through his wing. Fuel lines ruptured. The radio died in a sharp electronic scream. Faber reacted on instinct, hard right turn, dive into cloud cover, violent evasive maneuvers drilled into him through endless training hours. The Spitfires lost him. But so did his bearings. When Faber emerged from the clouds, he had no idea where he was. The compass no longer responded correctly, likely damaged during the fight. The fuel pressure needle was falling fast. Every second meant less range. Less margin. Less hope. He scanned the horizon. Then he saw water. A broad channel stretching between landmasses. Relief flooded his chest. The channel. He banked left, following the water eastward, convinced he was tracing the French coast back toward safety. What Faber did not know, what he could not know, was that he had been turned around during the dogfight. What he was following was not the English Channel. It was the Bristol Channel. And the land below him was not occupied France. It was Wales. The engine coughed again, harder this time. Fuel starvation. Minutes remained. Below, the countryside resolved into fields, roads, hedgerows. Then buildings. Then something unmistakable. An airfield. A runway. Orderly rows of parked aircraft. A control tower. Fuel trucks. Everything about it screamed familiarity. German order. German precision. German safety. Faber circled once at 800 feet. No flak. No alarms. No hostile fire. He saw nothing that contradicted his assumption. He lowered the landing gear. The hydraulics groaned. The FW 190 slowed, heavy and unstable, like a wounded bird. On the ground below, RAF Pembrey was having a quiet day. Training flights. Paperwork. Routine. Flight Lieutenant Dennis Cook stood near the control tower, clipboard in hand, watching aircraft taxi. The war felt distant here, reduced to radio bulletins and abstract casualty numbers. Then someone shouted, "Single-engine aircraft incoming. Damaged. Unknown type." Cook looked up. The silhouette was wrong. Too squat. Too aggressive. Not British. A German fighter. Descending. Gear down. Not firing. Not attacking. Landing. A stunned silence spread across the airfield. Rifles were grabbed. Orders barked. No one understood what they were seeing. A Luftwaffe fighter lining up for a textbook landing on a British runway. Cook raised his hand. "Hold fire. No one shoots unless I say so." The FW-190 crossed the threshold. 100 feet. 50. The engine died completely. Faber had no choice now. The wheels touched down. A brief bounce. Then a smooth roll along the center line. Perfect. Textbook. The aircraft coasted to a stop near the control tower. Faber exhaled. He had survived. He opened the canopy. And then he saw them. British uniforms. RAF roundels. Union flags. Rifles pointed directly at him. In that instant, reality crashed down. He had landed in Britain. Enemy territory. Alive. With his aircraft intact. His blood turned cold. His hands shook as he raised them slowly. British airmen surrounded the fighter in disbelief. Dennis Cook stepped forward. In careful German, he spoke. "Get out of the aircraft. Hands up." Faber obeyed. The young ace, credited with 7 kills, climbed out onto the wing, his legs unsteady. He was escorted away as mechanics and officers swarmed the aircraft. The significance was immediately obvious. This was not just any fighter. This was the Focke-Wulf FW-190. The Luftwaffe's newest and most feared machine. Faster than the Spitfire Mark V. Better roll rate. Heavier armament. Superior dive performance. For months, RAF pilots had been dying without understanding why. Now the answer sat on their runway. Within minutes, the base commander was alerted. Within hours, London knew. Within a day, Winston Churchill himself was briefed. A gift, he reportedly said. From the Luftwaffe. The aircraft was placed under armed guard. No one touched it without authorization. By morning, a transport team arrived to dismantle the wings for road transfer. Faber watched from captivity as his fighter, his pride, his weapon, his mistake, was carefully taken apart. Inside a small office, British intelligence officers questioned him. He told the truth. Damaged compass. Lost orientation. Mistaken channel. A single navigational error. No defection. No intention. Just survival. He was treated correctly. Professionally. Humanely. The contrast only deepened his shame. Within days, the FW-190 arrived at RAF Pembrey. There, engineers descended upon it like surgeons. Every system was documented. The BMW 801 radial engine was tested. Fuel injection analyzed. Cooling weaknesses identified. Armament studied. Test pilots flew it repeatedly, pushing it to every limit. And something critical happened. The mystery died. The FW-190 was no longer invincible. It had weaknesses. Poor high-altitude performance. Predictable energy bleed in sustained turns. Cooling vulnerabilities. Within weeks, new RAF tactics were issued. Within months, loss ratios improved. Pilots who would have died survived. Historians would later estimate that this single capture saved hundreds of Allied lives. All because one pilot chose to land instead of ditching at sea. Armin Faber spent the rest of the war in a prisoner camp. Other prisoners blamed him. He blamed himself. At night, he replayed the moment endlessly. Should he have crashed? Should he have died? Was survival a betrayal? But survival is a stubborn thing. And history does not reward martyrdom, it records consequences. After the war, Faber returned to civilian life. No trial. No recognition. No redemption. Just silence. The FW-190 he delivered became legend. Displayed. Studied. Written about. The war moved on. But that landing, quiet, bloodless, almost absurd, changed the air war in ways no dogfight ever could. Not through heroism. Not through fire. But through a single human error. A broken compass. A wrong turn. And 5 minutes that shifted history.